Are you familiar with the story of the nursery rhyme called Humpty Dumpty? It goes something like, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men could not put Humpty Dumpty again. In the cartoon, Humpty Dumpty is an egg. And of course, when an egg falls down, it cannot be put together. What the cartoon does not tell us is that Humpty Dumpty actually committed suicide. He had so much going on for him. He was in trouble with the law. He had disappointed his family. He had lost the trust of his friends. And the girl that he had an interest in did not share the same feelings as him. So Humpty Dumpty felt like there was so much pressure on him, and he just decided, you know what, I'm going to a bridge and this is going to go to an end. He sat on the wall for a while, hoping that somebody's going to see him and notice him and stop him, but that did not happen. So Humpty Dumpty jumped off the bridge. And by the time the police patrol were doing their patrol duty, Humpty Dumpty was gone. Now, this is the kind of pressure that's going on right now. With the pandemic, with everything that's going on, life is hard for so many people. The new normal for many of us has changed to things that are just so much pressure. People have lost jobs. People have had to do different things that they have never had to do before. The hustle is just different, and the pressure is so much on everyone. Now, I would like for us to talk about stress today. My name is Sarah, and I'm a clinical psychologist. Welcome. It's April, and April itself is Stress Awareness Month. And I would like for us to talk about stress, and not just the boring stuff about stress, because we all know stress. We've been there before. I'd like for us to talk about something more tangible. I'd like to leave with you practices, things that you can do to be able to meet the challenges of everyday life more meaningfully, more effectively, and more productively. Now, stress, how do we define it? It's a demand that's placed on our mind and our body to come up with coping abilities. Now, these coping abilities, sometimes, when stress happens, you can either flight, that's run away from the situation. You can either freeze in the moment and just do nothing, or you can fight. Now, stress is necessary. Stress is necessary. There's good stress and there's bad stress. The good stress is called eustress because it pushes us to do something about the demands that are placed on us. The bad stress is called distress because it pushes us to the more negative side of it. And how I define stress is different from the way you would define stress. You may find that something that is stressful to me is a no-breather to you. And the way I would cope with my stressing situations or stressful situations is very different from how someone else would cope with those situations. So stress, we cannot say that we'll eliminate stress from our lives, but we can choose how we react to them. Do we freeze? Do we run away from the situation? Or do we stay and fight? The effects of the pandemic have been negative for so many people. Many people have been locked out of their homes. Many people have been, friends and loved ones have died. Many people have lost their jobs. Many people have lesser to be able to provide for their families with. And this pushes us into having to do things that we do not even know how to cope with it. Now, we have two choices. There's the freeze, flight, or fight. We can either curl up in a corner and cry and wail about our problems, or we can choose to fight, to live for another day. We can choose to be self-destructive, go into, suicidal ideation like Humpty Dumpty, or we can learn strategies that will be able to cope with the things that are demanded on us. Stress It taps into our inner resources. Should you choose to fight, it gives you an opportunity to tap into your inner resources so that you can choose life. Now, the major part of this is that I want you to, the thing that I want you to learn is to self-care. And that's the key word for the rest of the session, self-care. Self-care is what you do to promote your physical, your mental, and emotional well-being. Self-care, when you hear that word, you can think, it's talking about bubble baths and massages and going to the salon. Yes, I'm talking about all that. And you know what? It's not luxury, it's self-preservation. You need to tap into your resources. You need to take care of yourself so that you can be able to meet those demands which are placed upon you. Self-care is taking responsibility for your own well-being. You see, if you are burnt out, if you're tired, if you're anxious, if you're stressed out, if you're depressed, there is no way that you're going to be effective to your family. There's no way that you're going to be effective at your workplace. So we are saying that you take care of yourself so that you can be able to be more effective in the roles that you're demanded to show up for. Self-care is being purposeful to elevate your mood. You can choose that something has happened to me, so I'm going to sit here and cry about it. You can choose to start complaining to your friends. You can choose to go drinking. But those things are not going to help you. They're going to have negative impacts on your family, on your friends, on your children, at your workplace. Now, when you talk self-care, we're saying that you're trying to be. Not trying, you're going to be purposeful in elevating your mood. You're feeling distressed, but you're going to choose to come out of that stressful situation so that you rise above your situations. And that is what self-care is all about. Self-care is building resilience towards, the things that you're handling, the things that are demanded of you. You're building resilience, and not just for now, for this crisis that you're meeting, even for future reference. I always say that you may not be able to do much in the heat of the moment. But if self-care to you is a practice, it's a routine, when you're faced with a crisis, a physical and emotional and mental crisis, you will be able to build up on the resilience that you built from the past. So self-care is taking responsibility for how you're feeling, being purposeful on how you're going to elevate your own mood, and building your own resilience. You're also going to be identifying resources that you need along the way. So you will know that if I am faced with a certain problem, this is how I can overcome it. You will be reading about how to approach different situations during self-care. So when you're faced with that challenge, you will be okay because you will have identified the resources that you needed. Maybe it's people that you will need to talk to. Maybe it's friends that you can call on to come to you. Maybe it's something like even finding a happy spot, something that works for you. And when you identify those resources, when you're faced with a crisis, it will be easy for you to say, I can do that and I'll be okay. There are different types of self-care. First of all, physical self-care. You need a body that's functioning. You need a body that's functioning so that you can be able to take care of it, to take care of the things that to show up for the roles that you are called upon. Now, you have to make sure that your body is running efficiently. Number one, how do you refuel your body? How much sleep do you take? How do you sleep? How much sleep? Many of us, we tell ourselves that we're so busy. Okay, we can be busy, but we don't sleep as much as we should. We'll talk much about that later, but we're talking about refueling our body so that our body can stand with us when we have a crisis. So, how do you refuel your body? How much sleep do you take? And if you are on any medication, do you take it as you should? Do you visit the doctor as often as you should? The other thing is social self-care. Now, the first thing when you come to me, if you're my client, I would want to know who is around you. who do you talk to? How effective are those relationships to you? Is it your family, your friends? What significant other people are there in your life? And those are the things that you need to nurture, those relationships. You want to know that when you're in a crisis, there is somebody who will be there for you. And you should also be that person who can be there for somebody else when they're in a crisis. It's a two-way street. And then maybe you also need to rebuild broken relationships, some broken relationships, if they're worth fixing. Because some of those broken relationships actually are the cause of crisis in our lives. Say, if you don't get along with your parents, you need your parents somewhere along the line in your life. So you may need to fix those broken relationships so that your crisis can be ameliorated. Now, mental self-care. This is very key, very, very key. Your mind is like a garden. For those who like gardening, your mind is like a garden. And if you want to plant, say you want to plant some spinach, you want spinach only in your garden. You want spinach that you can eat. That means that you're not going to get water from a stream, or rather from a sewage, and pour on your spinach. It means that you're not going to allow children to be playing on your garden. It means that you're going to be removing the weeds from your garden. How is this like your mind? You want positive things in your mind. What are you feeding your brain? Are you allowing people who are negative to just keep talking to you? Are you feeding yourself with things that are building you up, or you're just free flow? What you see, you take it all in. People who talk trash to you, you know the garbage truck analogy. There's people they're filled with anger and anxiety and bad things in them, and they go around like a garbage truck and things just fall off them. They pour anger on other people. They pour fear on other people. They pour anxiety on other people. Are you taking that into yourself? Because you want your mind to flourish, so that when it's time that you need your mind, it will be there for you. Okay? My teacher in high school used to say, "Gigo, garbage in, garbage out." What you feed your mind is going to come out. So if you're feeding yourself negativity, you're going to be a negative person. If you're feeding on anxiety, anxiety is going to flow from you. You want to have a positive outlook in life. You want to be full of gratitude. Those are the things that you do for your mental self-care. You want to be full of gratitude so that whatever situation comes out demanding of you, you can see the good things out of it instead of just seeing the doom and gloom and life is over like Humpty Dumpty. You want to be talking positively to yourself. You want to be saying, Sarah, you're a nice person. Because don't wait for somebody else to come and pour positivity on you. No, you have to feed yourself as well. So positive self-talk, the things that you say to yourself, those are very important, because when the time comes and you are having a crisis or a meltdown, you're going to be needing yourself to be patting yourself on the shoulder and telling yourself, you're going to get through this. But if you're full of negativity, there is no way that you will stand up for yourself. The other thing is spiritual self-care. I'm not going to try to sell religion to you, but we all know that, and studies show that people who have some form of religion in their life, so spirituality, they live a better and healthier lifestyle. You have to have something that you believe in, because that's going to be your compass. That's going to be something that you can anchor on when things are not going so well. You can look and say, this is it. I can find strength from this. And in that moment, in that space, you're going to be okay and be able to live to fight another day. Emotional self-care. How are you coping with anger and anxiety and fear and shame and guilt? Those coping strategies, those are the things that you build on. Those are the things that I'm saying that you build resilience on, so that when it comes time when you're having those emotions, you know what you can back up on. Now, maybe this is a new concept about self-care, and maybe it sounds complicated. It's not that complicated. These are things that we do on a daily basis, just that I'm talking about them. But I'm here to remind you about them and tell you how you can go about this. We spoke about physical self-care. The first thing I'll tell you is, like I mentioned, sleep. Sleep is very important. Did you know that when you don't sleep as much as you should, your body starts breaking down? There's those headaches because you've not given your cells the time to rebuild themselves and to rejuvenate the way they should. Rest. Sometimes sleep means that you need to take a 20-minute nap in the middle of a day. Just go somewhere and close and shut down for 20 minutes. Sometimes it means going to bed 30 minutes earlier. But you need that sleep because you need to build your resources again. And the other very important thing is our sleep routine. We are told that when you're raising babies, they have to have a routine maybe for 30 minutes before you put them down to sleep. It's not just babies who need that. Adults need that too. And we always say that I'm a big kid now. I don't need a sleep routine. No, you do need a sleep routine. You need to have a sleep routine is the things that you do before you go to sleep. We call it sleep hygiene. It can mean that 30 minutes before you go to sleep, you can read. It means that you shower. Take a shower, whatever it means to you, but not taking tea. Tea is stimulating. You want to do things that are calming down to your body. It doesn't mean that an hour before you go to sleep, you're going to exercise and then you take a shower. No, that pumps up your heart and your heart is beating. And when it comes time to sleep, your brain is still racing. You want things that are going to calm you down. So if that's music for you, play some soothing music. If it's reading a book and not from the phone, something printed, because your eyes, they stimulate your brain, from the glare of the screen. You want no screen time 30 minutes before you sleep. I know we chat with our friends or we scroll on the internet until our eyes just can't open anymore. That is not healthy. Our sleep routine and our sleep hygiene is very necessary. And I always say, after 7 p.m., don't watch the news. Because the things that are on the news at 9 p.m., you will find them on the news tomorrow morning. It's somebody shooting somebody, it's somebody raping somebody somewhere, it's a cyclone that's happening somewhere, it's a crisis in another part of the world. It's news. It's going to be there tomorrow. Don't listen to news after 7 because it's just going to be juggling your mind and things that are happening in the world. They're so stressful. Oh, it's like what happened to me in the course of a day. Oh my goodness, that person makes me so angry. Those are the things that are running to your mind, through your mind, into your sleep. And then in the middle of the night, you start hitting fists on the wall. And we wonder, why is this person having nightmares? It's because of the things that you were doing just before you fell asleep. And tomorrow morning, you will wake up more tired than you were. So I'm saying sleep hygiene is very necessary. You need to get quality sleep so that you can be effective when you're awake. Now, the other thing is movement. Movement, that may mean exercising. It's very good for your health. It may mean exercising. It may mean moving around. Now, many of us going to the gym may not be practical for us. Maybe because of their finances, maybe because of the time. But we can make time to move around. Put in some 30 minutes of walking around into your routine. If you lead a sedentary lifestyle where you're forced to be on your desk the whole day, take a break, walk around the office, go outside during lunchtime. Don't just sit there. Go outside, take a walk. It's going to be refreshing for you. And I'll say later also that going outside, going outdoors is very good so that you're breathing fresh air. You're seeing something different, you're seeing something new, maybe, and you're also getting away from that thing that's demanding or stressing you at that point in time. So take a walk. If it's possible, run for 30 minutes if you can. And if it's possible, have an active exercise routine daily or as often as possible. Also, house chores. I know maybe with our busy schedules, we have house helps who help us, or Mama Safi. Once in a while, get around and do the house chores on yourself. It will help you to get away from the busyness of those things which are demanding, your coping capabilities. The other thing is mindful eating. It is very, very seen that when we are stressed, we have bad eating habits. We either overeat or undereat. So we have to be mindful of how we are eating when we are stressful. And it doesn't come in the moment, like I said. It's something that you build up on. So we have to be mindful on how we eat, and that's part of the self-care routine. The other thing which is very key and the core part of all this is choosing yourself. You have to choose yourself. We wear many hats. We are mothers, we are fathers, we are brothers, we are sisters, we are children, we are daughters, We are employees, we are colleagues. We have so many demands placed upon our shoulders. You have to choose yourself. That does not mean being selfish or being mean to other people. It just means that you take a little bit of time for yourself. And that may not mean it doesn't have to be something expensive. It can mean getting away from everybody else and going and doing something that is just for you. So choose yourself. Choose yourself because you need you so that you can be able to take care of other people. When you're burnt out, you are full of anxiety. When you're burnt out, you cannot help somebody else because your own resources are depleted. I say you cannot pour from an empty cup. So refill your cup so that you can be able to be effective and productive for other people who actually need you. You should know your limits so that you can be able to say, I'm past this, I'm not able to do this. Okay? The other thing that you can do for self-care is organizing ourselves. Or organizing something. Organizing something, declutter a place, because the garbage that's around you, the clutter that's around you, reflects the clutter that's also on your mind. So, this list is not exhaustive. You probably catch my drift by now. I'm trying to say that take care of yourself so that you can be able to be effective when taking care of other people. These may not be even the list of, or what's your happy spot or the things that you would take care of yourself may not be even on this list. I'm saying that find out that place or that thing that you can do to take care of yourself so that when you are in a crisis, you are able to be effective and not jump over a bridge like Humpty Dumpty. And if you need help with coping with stress or learning how to manage yourself, you can reach out to me. And I will be able to walk with you through your journey. Thank you.